I walk into work one day and this gentleman is like, Jamelle, you have to read this book. Like, this book changed my life, right? And I'm like, well, this is interesting. I was just finishing high school and I started to get this inclination to read something, which was weird for me because I was not an academic. I was not an academic throughout high school, but I, close to the end, started to get this need to read. And so I picked this book up and started to read it, and I just couldn't put it down. And then I eventually got to this one line that changed my life forever, and literally is like the inception point that started everything that I'm doing today.
Okay.
And the line that I read is, you are not your thoughts. And it floored me. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Because up until that point, I had never considered that maybe all of these things that I'm thinking about myself, all of these insecurities, all of these fears, maybe that's not who I am. I had never considered that. The second thing is I had never considered the possibility to begin observing my own thinking process. It had never occurred to me to say, hey, Jamelle, what are some of the thoughts and stories that you tell yourself about yourself and the world? Never had that idea. And a part of me was so disappointed because, well, I mean, look, this was a failure of society to me because I'd been to school, I'd had, teachers and counselors and parents, and I'm not judging any of them, right? I went to math classes. I learned about that fancy parabola. You remember that like curve thing, that big brick calculator to plot it?
I haven't used a parabola.
Are there any parabolas around? Like, you've never done the curved line. And no one ever said, hey, Jamelle, why don't you take a beat and reflect inward at what you're feeling and begin to ask yourself why you're feeling what you're feeling. It was never a conversation. So this led me down an interesting path because now I'm starting to observe my thoughts and I'm recognizing, oh my goodness, the reason why I'm insecure is not because of all of these things that are happening out there, right? I'm insecure because the thoughts and stories that I'm telling myself in my own mind are creating these emotions of insecurity within me.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have come to that awareness before because I had no internal awareness of my own thoughts and my own feelings. So it was always about what was happening out there in the external world. I'm comparing myself to people in the external world, how I'm being perceived, how are they seeing me, right? How am I coming across? All of those kinds of things.
Of course.
So what do we do when we have an earth-shattering realization, right? We go out and we tell people like, I figured it out. I have found the answer to life. And so that's what I did. And so I started telling people all about this. And they just would look at me like I was crazy.
Right.
So this is before mindfulness and awareness and all these things were kind of cool and
common and
And so I'm like, okay, you know what, Jamelle? Stop talking about it. I don't talk about it, be about it. Apply it to your life. And if there's something here, at some point, somebody will ask and then you can fill them in.
Right. Yeah.
Right.